Hey, what's up? It's Marc Coley, and you have landed yourself on my YouTube channel. Here we discuss all things personal growth, mindset mastery, and spiritual development. Today we talking about something that I know a lot of y'all are struggling with, and I'm about 90% in my journey, so I'm not 100%, but I am definitely not where I used to be. You should put a praise in it right there. We're talking about why you please people, and we're talking about just all the things that comes with that whole topic of people pleasing. Before we get deep into the subject, let's actually look and see what it means to people please. People pleasing is a behavior pattern where an individual prioritizes, that's the part that we want to pay attention to, others' needs and desires over theirs, often at the expense of their own well-being and happiness. If I was in church and we had a reader, I would say read. So what is simply saying is that people pleasing, it didn't say it was a bad thing. Let's start there. It didn't say it was a bad thing, because I do believe that there are certain times in your life where you actually desire to please others, meaning that you desire to put their needs, wants, desires over yours. It could be in a relationship with a partner, a spouse. It could be with your kids. You know, you don't want to go to the ice cream parlor, but your kids do, and you put their needs and or desires over yours, and you take them and you're happy about it. We're not talking about that type of people pleasing. We're talking about that excessive people pleasing where you don't catch a break. Because every time you turn around, you're doing something that helps to make somebody else happy or gives them what they want, and you always overlook, X out your needs, wants, and desires. Now, let me give you some background or backstory of me and what caused me to be a people pleaser. Now, I'm 35 years old now, and it was something about them 30s that life began to really shift, especially as it pertained to people pleasing. I grew up with my grandmother as my primary caregiver. We grew up in an interesting setting. It was my grandmother, it was my granddad, it was my mom and aunt and my sister, and we were all in one house. My grandfather passed away when I was very young. Don't have a lot of memories with him. So then, of course, it was the rest of us left. Shortly thereafter, my mother, my birth mother, biological mother, she moved to a neighboring city, which I thought was a really big city at the time. It wasn't, trust me. But we were in a small area, so everything was big to us. She moved out, and she moved with her and my sister. So my sister was maybe about 5 or 6 years older than me. So I was a kid. She maybe was 13 or something. I can't remember the exact numbers. I remember wanting to go with her so bad. I actually feel like I can remember the tears coming out of my eyes. Like, I want to go with my mama. I want to go with my mama. And my grandmother would not let me go. That single decision that my grandmother made not to allow me to go with my biological mother changed the entire trajectory of my entire existence on earth forever. It was a decision that in hindsight I look back on and know that, oh my God, I'm so glad she did that. With this being said, now it's my grandmother, my aunt, and me in the house. So it's three of us. And my grandmother is the primary caregiver of me. She does an exceptional job until she passes away in 2001. At this time, I'm in the 7th grade. I remember because I had to sing at my 7th grade graduation, and some teacher manipulated me to get me to sing because she said, your grandma will want you to sing. And I'm like, oh my God. But I ended up singing, I Believe I Can Fly, whatever. So that's how I remember. So life is about to get very interesting for me once my grandmother passed. My aunt, who was a neighbor of ours at the time, she then started to manage both households. She managed hers, and she had a son that was much older. He was, pretty much at that stage where he was independent, and she was managing my grandmother's household. My aunt was still there, but my aunt had a disability, so she wasn't really able to take charge and, take over for where my grandmother was leading. So my aunt took over. Now, throughout all of this process, I am fully aware that I have a mom and she's not able to take care of me. My mom is, dealt with drug abuse, mental illness, just a lot of things that she's dealt with in her lifetime. And so my grandmother, of course, knew that early on and did not let me go because I was too young. Didn't know that once again. So it's just the biggest blessing that I could have received. Shout outs to grandmas. They truly are the backbone of African American families. I was aware, though, as a child, that this is my grandmother, that's my mom, that's my sister. I was aware. I wasn't one of those kids that was, calling grandma mom. I wasn't, I don't know why, but I wasn't. It was grandma. But she provided what I believe was some level of security. This was the woman that kind of led the household for me, not my mom at the time, even when we stayed together. And so there was a sense of security that I had with my grandmother that was very, very close and very much so like a mom. So when she passed away, that security left. And so now I'm aware that others have to take responsibility because my biological mom is not able to take care of me. So you got the aunt, and I stayed there for a few years, and it wasn't horrible, And I say it wasn't horrible because things could have been much worse. I could have been sent to an orphan family, but I'm so grateful that I remained within my family. It could have been a different situation, but even though it wasn't a horrible situation, it wasn't the best situation for me. And so I stayed there maybe a year or so. Wasn't really great there, and then I moved with another aunt, which was about an hour and a half away. And then I moved with an uncle, and all of these are my relatives, by the way. So I'm moving with different relatives, and people in my family essentially had to pick up the slack where my grandmother would have been my primary caregiver. And as I said earlier, I'm aware of all of this that's going on. So now we get into people please. I'm sorry I had to take a long way around, but I had to explain where I believe it came from. And so with me living in all of these different environments and being aware that others were taking on the responsibility that my mom should have been able to, I started to feel like I needed to please whoever was my current caregiver. So as a kid, you can imagine I'm doing my best not to get in trouble. I'm being super, super mannerable, and it's just a southern thing anyway. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. I'm not doing anything remotely close to maybe what kids would do in my age group because I was just so caught up on pleasing whoever I was living with. I never talked back. I never did anything outside of, the rules. And you may say, looking at this video, like, of course, you're a kid. You should be doing all of these things. And you're right. I agree with you. But the reasoning behind it was not out of, I'm just going to be a good kid because I want to be a good kid. The reasoning is what we want to talk about, is because I wanted to please them because I was afraid that I would lose wherever place I was staying. I was afraid that I would lose the sense of security if it was any there. I felt like I would lose it if I wasn't in line and doing everything to please whoever I was living with. So I didn't have this sense of belonging. I didn't have this sense of, this is my house. This is my, kids, being a kid, stuff is not yours technically, but that's my house, that's my car, that's my mom, that's my dad, that's my room. When my grandmother passed away, all of that security went out of the door, and now I'm kind of like an orphan inside of my family. Saying that to say that's where the people pleasing started, and it went with me almost 20 plus years of my life. And so it was doing what I felt everybody else wanted me to do, being super respectful, mannerable, which are not bad things. But once again, it's the intention behind it. And anytime I felt like I would disappoint somebody, it wouldn't just be like, oh, she'll get over it. It stuck with me because disappointing somebody to me was almost like that may be your ticket out of the door. That may be your ticket of losing what sense of security you do have. And so it wasn't just mere disappointing your caregiver or your parents or your guardian. It was terribly scary for me. Like, I didn't want people mad with me. I didn't want people upset with me. I didn't want people disappointed in me. So it built this anxiety in me, even if I felt like I've done something wrong. And so people pleasing started there, and then it ventured out into my everyday relationships, especially even after I graduated high school. I was continuously a people pleaser. I wanted everybody happy with Mark. And so you're watching this video because, insert your name, you want everybody happy with you. And while on the surface that seems very minimum, it's not a bad thing, everybody wants everybody happy with them. No, you want people happy with you at the cost of your own happiness, at the cost of your own peace of mind. And that's where you have to draw the line. Somebody told me a while back, they was like, man, when you turn 30, things are going to shift for you. I don't know if it was prophecy, intuition, I don't know what it was, but when I turned 30, things indeed started to shift for me, because for one, I came into my own and I started to develop this I don't care attitude. I don't know where it came from, but it just emerged from me. Like, Mark, you only have one life, and if you live your entire existence just to make others happy, that's not doing your creator, that's not doing you a service, because you were placed on this earth to do certain things, and certain things that you do or feel compelled to do are not going to align with what everybody else wants for your life. And so one of the first things, or one of the primary things that I want to tell others who struggle with pleasing others or people pleasing, is that you have to rest in knowing that some of the decisions that you make for your life, some of the decisions that you are going to make you happy, some of the things that you're going to do that don't make sense to others are going to piss other people off, or either they're going to be disappointed in you. And so I want you to sit with the awareness of knowing that is a very likely possibility. I don't want to sugarcoat it and say, well, people may, no, it's going to be some people that are disappointed. Why? Because you have been presenting a version of you that's not even real. This people pleasing version of you is fake. Yes, I said it. It's fake. It's not you. You hate doing certain things. You hate that you're a people pleaser. And so now when you start to shift into this brand new version of you, you're going to abruptly disappoint a lot of people when you start setting boundaries, when you start saying no. And I know that you're feeling empowered right now, but I also know that this is going to be a journey for you. It's going to be a journey for you because your existence was built on making others happy at the expense of your happiness. And now you have to come into a season of your life where you say, my happiness comes first. My joy comes first. And why is this so important? And let me speak to religious or people who grew up in certain environments, especially church, where you're always taught to put yourself last. And so some of that comes up as well, because in order to be the best version of yourself, in order to really show up in this earth as a powerful individual, you have to tend to your needs first. If you're listening to this and it's resonating with you, type in the comments, me first. In order to serve others better, you gotta be at peace. In order to serve others better, you have to have a sense of happiness with life. Because when you show up with resentment, because that's what you're gonna start to feel when you do everything for everybody else, and everybody else's desires come first, and everybody else's wishes for your life come first, you're going to have resentment towards yourself for doing it, and resentment towards them for imposing their desires on you. Sit with that for a second. Sit with it. Is that the life that you want to live? Do you want, at the end of your life, you to say, I made everybody else happy but me? Do you? That's the question that I started asking myself. I only have one life. This is not a pre-run. This is not a trial run. This is not a 7-day free trial. Try it out and see if you like it. This is my one life. When I get to the end of my life, I'm going to rest in knowing I did the things that made Mark happy. I did the things that brought Mark peace and joy and happiness. Am I going to bump my head along the way? Yes, you are too. But it's the fact that I decided to go this route, and here's the results of what I decided to do. That should bring you satisfaction. Some people struggle with it when it comes to their parents, and some people don't feel like they get to live their lives until their parents pass away. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be you, because you may disappoint mom because she has desires for your life. You may disappoint dad because he wants you to follow in his footsteps. But that was his life. He's living his life. He's living his dreams. And if he didn't get to, maybe it wasn't meant for him to be. I don't know. But I know right now, divinely, you are connecting and you are seeing this video, and you're searching for content because you want to get help out of this place, because you know this is not the place that you want to be in. Can I speak to your spirit and say, no, this is not God's desire for your life. This is not your desire for your life. Your desire is to become, to evolve, but you're so afraid to make somebody else disappointed. Well, baby, I can't give it to you no other way. You are going to make some people disappointed. You're going to make some people, I can't believe you did that. You're going to have some people in your family talking about, oh, child, did you see what Leroy did? Oh, child, did you see what LaWanda did? Oh, I can't believe she done left the family. I can't believe she moved to LA to pursue. I can't believe why you're going to do, yes. Yes, and I know to a people pleaser, that's like I just sentenced you to hell. But no, baby, I just set you free and gave you heaven on earth. It's hard. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. Setting boundaries, telling people that you're used to telling yes to, telling them no, having difficult conversations, facing the awkward silence when you set boundaries with people. Yes, that's hard. But you want to know what's harder than that? Living with yourself knowing that you are not happy. Living with yourself knowing that you are living the life of somebody else's dreams. I think that's harder. And so start this journey, start this work. I think I want to teach on this in my Monday class, master class. And by the way, hit that link in the description if you want to be a part of that. It's absolutely free via Zoom, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single Monday. Mastering Life with Marc Coley, mastering ing because we are mastering it together. But yeah, anyway, that's all I got for you. Thank you for watching this video. If it resonated with you, if it gave you something, maybe it gave you the encouragement, maybe it gave you some insight, I don't know. But hit that subscribe button, share this video with somebody that needs it as well, and hit that like and comment. Do all of those things because we are building a community of rebels, of reformers here. And so I want you to be a part of that. I want you to be a part of exploring the greatest version of yourself, what that looks like. And I want to be a person that helps you to achieve that as I'm doing the same. We're in the same boat. We're rocking. I may be leading it, but baby, we in this together. So if that's you, hit that subscribe button once again. Join the Mastering Life with Marc Coley community. And I will see you on Monday. And if I don't see you on Monday, I will see you back here for another video. Until then, as I always say, let's continue to evolve.